Hello and welcome, Red, to Anfield Index. Yes, it's the post-match presser. I'm Jack McIndoe. I'm going to take you through all the latest comments and injury updates from Arne Slot that he's just done, building up the big game against Everton. I'll tell you what, Reds, it's a massive game, really, isn't it? In all honesty, it's a pivotal next 15 days, really. 5 games in that period. And we've got all Arne Slot's comments as well. But if you are new around here as well, Reds, hit that subscribe button down below. If you are watching on YouTube or whatever social media platforms you are watching, make sure you do get involved in the comment section below as well. You're absolute legends. And if you are watching on X, if you are watching on Facebook as well, head over to the YouTube channel as well, on our road to 10,000 subscribers as well. But firstly, we'll get straight into obviously the big injury news in regards to obviously Alexander-Arnold and Joe Gomez. The reporters did ask, first of all, can we check on Trent Alexander-Arnold and Joe Gomez? And Arne did very much reply. He goes on to add about Trent. Trent has done part of training sessions for us. No session yesterday. So let's see how he is today. He will train hopefully with us again, and we'll have to decide if we take him to the game, yes or no. In regards to Joe Gomez, it's the same leg again where he's had that injury last time. We are still assessing that, but we will definitely not. He would definitely not be available for tomorrow. So probably obviously Trent's is touch and go really going into the game tomorrow. Obviously it's difficult, but the main one with Joe Gomez there is, as Arne said, it's the same leg that he had the previous injury. So it's just disappointing, really, I think, from every Liverpool fan, really. And in regards to Joe Gomez, he's been absolutely plagued with injury in his Liverpool career, as we all know. It's deeply disappointing, really, if we're being honest. But it's one of them. Do Liverpool look to move him on in the next 12 months or whatnot? I think we might do, really. But it's whether what buying club really will bring him into the football club. But it's disappointing, to say the least, really. But Reds, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below on that. So Arne gives an update saying it is the same leg injury, the same leg that he very much did sustain an injury. So they're still assessing him, and very much fingers crossed it's not too bad with Joe Gomez. But when he usually gets an injury, and especially on that same leg, it does tend to be a lot more of a longer term injury in that regard as well. I'll be 1 second there, Chaz. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, so the Trent Alexander injury and the Gomez update as well. So that's disappointing. So it's quickly insurance. No session yesterday for Trent as well. So he will train today, hopefully. So with Trent, fingers crossed. You'd expect Conor Bradley to start that game, if I'm honest, based off what Arne Slot said there. I think in terms of more match ready, in all honesty, but have to wait and see, really. And then he was asked about a chance of a quadruple, and Arne just laughed. And the reporters, of course, bringing in the quadruple chitter chatter anyway. Obviously, the reporters did ask this morning. Obviously, we weren't necessarily talking up the chances of a quadruple, but the chance of winning all trophies has gone. How important does that have, and if not any? And Slot more or less replying, it should be important, because if you're working for a club like this, you should compete for every trophy. We've said from the start, you have to go on the second to the second occasion. We beat Accrington Stanley, but lost to obviously Plymouth Argyle, and of course it's not acceptable to get beat by Plymouth as a team, and I think our fans as well. We are disappointed by the results. Annie, I'd say some of us are, some of us aren't. I think the majority of us are just prioritising the Premier League and the Champions League, of course. I get what he's got to say, that, Annie. But we know what you do with Arnie. But yeah, it's one of them. As long as we win the Premier League and Champions League, we'll all be very, very happy, to say the least, as well. So yeah, he said he was disappointed about the results. It showed a different side of us tomorrow, obviously, because it's not only the results, the performance was far from Liverpool's standard as well, going off the back of that the Plymouth game. So fingers crossed there's a most notable improvement in that regard as well. And he was asked about, obviously, the last ever Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. Reds, what are we saying in that regard? Are we very much bothered about it being the last one at Goodison? Obviously, the reporters did indicate, obviously, both Liverpool and Everton are tied with 41 Merseyside derbies victories at Goodison. So it'd be nice if we can finish with the most wins at Goodison Park. It's the home stadium anyway. With that, obviously, he was just saying, he was asked the question, what consideration do you give to being to it being the last ever Goodison derby? And Slot, obviously, give a long answer, but I just picked the big bits out of this really in regards to his comments. I think it's an extra reason why the atmosphere will probably be even better than it all is on this occasion before. I haven't been to one, but people tell me Goodison Park, as at Anfield, it's always a fantastic atmosphere. Home supporters are there to support their team, and the away fans are mostly loud as well. It's probably going to be a fantastic atmosphere, and that's never easy to play against. So, yeah, it's always such a hostile atmosphere, Goodison Park. It never used to be like that. Obviously, the 70s and the 80s, it's disappointing to say the least. If you live in Liverpool, or maybe you've got Everton members of your family or whatnot, there's a divide, or your whole red household, then well done for you. But yeah, it's the last. It's difficult, really. I don't like the way it's gone in certain years, the hostile nature from Everton, really. It goes both ways anyway for every fan base, but it's disappointing to say the least, really. But let's hope we get a good game, most importantly, going into tomorrow's game, and we don't see a draw. That's not what we want. But obviously, Slot went on to add about the atmosphere, but it's not the first time these players that are playing in this atmosphere like this. So we're hoping that they can focus on what they have to do. But it's not only tactical, you also have to stand up to the emotions as well. I've noticed that also in the Plymouth game, the intensity of the tackles, how aggressive they were, and that there was the quality of the players, but also there was definitely also because of the emotions in the stadium as well. Of course, obviously, Arne just said there was a different caliber of player, really. We weren't playing with our main first team. But even still, when you've got those players on the pitch, you'd like to hope that they would have done the job against Plymouth, but it wasn't to be anyway. So in terms of just quickly adds on that final conclusion, I think we were quite ready because we weren't quite ready after the 10 minutes. The referee, obviously, he was asked about we have to be up for that. I've seen the game of last season, Arne, just indicating last year's performance. For example, I think they were quite ready because after 10 minutes, the referee blew the whistle 11 times and 10 times in favour of Everton. Tell you what, Arne, you've started early here, lad. Put the pressure on the ref. The Liverpool players were ready to compete, but every time they touched them, it was a free kick. Yeah, you can tell who Richarlison got that off, can't you? After the Tottenham game, but I thought, yeah, quickly shut yourself. That was obviously on the last ever, his thoughts on the last ever Merseyside derby. So right, we'll go to their ground and keep on beating them for the next 20 years. It's important, hopefully. But in terms of, obviously, because of the atmosphere, how important is it keeping a cool head in the situation like this? Obviously, the reporters asked him this morning. Yeah, quickly summarize on this one. Every time you play against a team that wants to fight, this is from Arne's quotes, and that's almost every time they play against any opponent. But maybe this one even more. You have to be ready for that. You have to just run like you have to run just as much. You have to just as to be as tense in the tackle and not going across the line, but be cool enough to play a good and firm tackle. I'll tell you what, I miss a Steven Gerrard. We all miss a Steven Gerrard in this type of fixture, don't we, Chas? Even the Jamie Carragher. Some of the tackles Carragher used to. Yeah. tackled like Paul Scholes half of the time sometimes in the derby kind of. But yeah, it was just it wasn't too much on that. It's quickly on the conclusion on that question about the obviously keeping a cool head. Yeah, that's where it starts, and then 9 out of 10 times, and after 10 to 15 20 minutes a game settles down a bit, and when you start to think even more about playing football. But like I said, last season in the first 10 minutes there were 10 free kicks in favour for Everton, and I think what they did in the last for the last free kicks as well. So chat, let us know your thoughts on that regard as well. So that was in conclusion to that. And then he was asked about David Moyes. About in terms of differences. How different the reporters asked this morning, how different do you think the challenge of Everton under David Moyes compares to the one that you faced earlier in the season when Everton were struggling as well? And he went on to add, they were to a certain extent, I think they picked up some good results as well, away at City and away at Arsenal, and with some clean sheets and draws. I think those were very good results from an Everton perspective. If you have to play away like that, that's impressive. I'm aware of the fact that David took over 4 games and won 3. So that is definitely a great accomplishment for him. Won a trophy. And they were definitely maybe not in a better place than they were a few weeks or months ago as well. 7 out of the left. And then, so that was obviously Arne speaking about David Moyes' impact. Yeah, he's had a very good impact. I think certainly couldn't have gone any worse for them, really. You look at Everton and Tottenham, really, probably 2 of the most underperforming teams within the Premier League over the last couple of seasons anyway. I think Everton, since they got rid of David Moyes, as we all know, they've been on a downward spiral, really, in regards to the managers that have come in. There was another question in regards to 7 out of the last 10 derbies at Goodison have been draws. What does that tell you about in preparation to this one? Arne goes on to add, it definitely tells you how difficult it is for both teams to win against each other. When David Moyes come there in 2002, you look at a team that was fighting against relegation and made it a club that was, and in the end, playing for top 4, he did incredibly well. He did, fair play. But the last few seasons, Everton were not competing for the top 4 anymore. A team like that, normally Liverpool would get more points or more wins against or in and around Everton than they did. It tells you how difficult of an away fixture for Liverpool this is to play at Everton away as well. And it always is, chat. This is for me, and Arne does indicate it in the next question as well in a little second, as he says on this question from the reporters this morning. It's such a difficult, like this for me, when I know obviously there might be bigger teams coming up, but it's Everton. They never make it as easy. As Arnie's already indicated this morning, it's such a difficult environment, difficult moment, really. And I think this will be probably a bit similar with the Bournemouth game and even with the Forest game away. I think if we could have got a win against Forest, which we managed to get a draw. That was one of the most difficult games. I'd always put Everton away as one of the most difficult games, as well as Arnie's indicated, even when they were fighting for top 4, even when they've been scrapping for relegation over the last couple of seasons as well. It's always, regardless of the quality of Everton, really, in terms of the playing style, they always make it difficult. And I think this will be one of our biggest 3 points of the season. Of course, who it's against, but most importantly, the environment, as Arne has already alluded to this morning, in terms of the ferocious atmosphere as well. So, yeah, they're not going to make it easy. They're not going to roll over. But if we can get a couple of goals tomorrow, absolutely flying. It would all be a bit buzzing, really. But he was asked about, obviously, in terms of the 5 games in 15 days in the Premier League. Question: will this period define your Premier League season? And Arne indicated No, because this period, the 5 games in 15 days, it's what we've done for 7 months now. Every phase of the season is crucial. If you play Premier League, this is the hardest league to win because there are so many teams that can win the league, that there are so many teams that are able to win 10 to 15 games in a row, 100%. You cannot slow down and have a few games where you're not up, you're not on top of your game, because then all of a sudden another team catches up. That's because in the Premier League, that's why it's such an exciting league, because an exciting league for the fans, and that's why the whole world is looking at it as well. Arsenal last season, after they went to Qatar, they won first 8 games and only lost 2 of the last 15 to 17. Yeah, so this goes on to really about obviously the importance. We know it's an important period, really. So in that regard, yeah, it quickly get another line. Yeah, it goes on to add it's difficult because the plan was, of course, to play with Joe for 60 minutes. Oh, I think I missed a question there. Yeah, so more or less summarising in regards to that. Obviously, the rotation of certain players as well. But yeah, 15, Arne said there, just get the games boxed off, focus one game at a time, of course. And that's the most important thing that we possibly can do in that regard. We've spoken, quickly touching, we've spoken about, obviously the reporters did ask him, we've spoken a lot about fast starts over the course of this season, and we've seen Everton start really fast in the last 2 home games. How important do you think that period of the game is going to be for the result? And obviously Arne goes on to add, and obviously this is the final question, really. It was only a short presser today. Arne going on to add on the final question. I think 90 minutes of the game are very important. In the first 10 minutes or first 15 is in an away game, it's even more important not to be behind, because if you go behind, then the fans have even more emotions, and then they cheer for Everton. If you kick the ball outside the stadium, they will still cheer. But if you go 1-0 down, then they'll do the same. They'll all booing you as well, and they love a good old boo at Goodison, don't they? So definitely important in the away game not to go behind. The reason why we've dropped points against the teams you just mentioned are probably more because that they have a lot of quality. For that reason, we went a goal behind. It has to do with us starting not so well. At Forest, for example, the first 4 to 5 minutes we started really well, but one counter attack led to their goal. So yes, it's important in an away game to control the emotions of the crowd. And the worst thing you can do is go behind, because when the emotions will be up until that moment, you will have a 2-goal lead. Until then, the emotions will be very positive from the home team. That's why being focused and concentrated in an away game is even more important than in a home game. 100% there, Arne. So, Reds, let us know your thoughts on that in that regards. As Arne said there, even from his own comments, it's very much a case of handling the emotions from everyone, really, even the crowd and obviously the fans, of course, not to panic, really. Tell you what, we'd love it if Divock Origi could very much play for 90 minutes, couldn't we? Certain Jordan Pickford wouldn't be best too pleased about that as well. But big up there, Trev. Good morning. How are we, fella? Morning, Jack. Morning. Big up there, chat. You're absolute legends. But yeah, obviously that was just a little summary. Obviously the post-match presser as well. Obviously quickly go to the main bit of news, really, in regards to the Trent, and obviously people might be just tuning in now. He was asked, first of all, the reporter did ask, first of all, can we all check on Trent and Gomez and their respective injuries as well? Arne went on to say, Trent has done part of training sessions with us. No sessions yesterday, so let's see how he is today. He will train hopefully with us again, and then we have to decide if we take him to the game, yes or no? Joe, it's the same leg again where he had the injury last time. We are still assessing that, but it will be definitely not be available for tomorrow. And reporter quickly replies, how much of a concern is that? And he says, mostly, Arne, mostly a concern as well. So Reds, yeah, disappointing with Gomez, but let's hope even still with, I think we did, as the lads have already said on Anfield Index over the last couple of days as well, after the game, I do feel I do concur with them as well in regards to their pods, saying that potentially we might have rushed Joe Gomez back. And I think personally we did. I think we don't need to be rushing Trent back. If he's not available for tomorrow, we've got more important, well, obviously some very important games tomorrow, but there's bigger games on the horizon to come. We just got to think in a couple of weeks ahead, a couple of months ahead as well. And that goes not just for Trent, but for any other players that do pick up injuries, because injuries will happen over the next couple of weeks as well. And it's important that we don't panic and just keep our heads clear and focused on obviously the game in hand. Really, that's coming ahead of us. So Reds, massive thank you for tuning in regards to the schedule today in terms of what's coming out on Anfield Index. Plenty of shows coming out today as well. So we've got the Rival Recon coming out. That is at 1 p.m. AI Scouted is coming out at 3 p.m. On YouTube as well. But if you head over to the Anfield Index Pro, you can listen to all the audio podcasts in their full entirety as well. Obviously, there's a couple of pod previews on YouTube as well. So head over. If you want a little bit of a taster, check them out on YouTube, listen to them, and very much get involved as well. Always do get involved in the comment section below as well. Everyone, it is very much appreciated. But as we said, if you can support through super chats or when you are watching YouTube, it is very, very, very much appreciated. And obviously, we do produce over 75 free podcasts. Apologies, chat. Over 75 free podcasts a month as well. Over 600 plus free articles on AnfieldIndex.com as well. Plenty of amazing writers over there. So do get involved. Plenty to get stuck into. If you got social media, head over to Blue Sky as well. Drop us a follow on that. AnfieldIndex.com. Obviously, check out the starter pack. And yeah. And as we said, if you are watching on YouTube, do always, if you can, do drop a super chat and all that on YouTube. Goes a massive, long way for supporting everything that we do here at Anfield Index. But Reds, as we said, plenty of shows to come. 1 p.m. Rival Recon, obviously Ice Scout at 3 p.m. And yeah, but if you want to listen to those audio podcasts, they are already available in their full entirety. But Reds, it's been an absolute pleasure. Massive thank you to everyone that has tuned in. Obviously, the headlines of the press this afternoon are, of course, the Joe Gomez injury, which is not good to see. Still, that's getting assessed. And of course, Trent, he's touch and go really going in tomorrow. He should be training today. But Reds, massive thank you. If you are watching on the repeat, do drop a like on the video. Massively helps out. And do get involved in the comment section below as well, Reds. Obviously, the watch along will be tomorrow. I tell you, it's always everyone's tense going into the derby because it's bragging rights, really. If you work with Everton people or if you've got family members in your family that support Everton, it's like, oh, yeah, a couple of debates are very much hard anyway. But Reds, whatever you're doing today, do get involved with all the Everton involved in Anfield Index as well, Reds. But everyone, have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. But there's plenty to get stuck into at Anfield Index, and obviously the Gags Tandem show will be live tomorrow, and of course the post-match Raw will be getting recorded tomorrow evening. But for now, Reds, you never walk alone, and yeah, up the Reds, and let's hope Liverpool can get a massive 3 points. And Slev's got a score prediction in nice and early there, but 2-0. We'll take a 1-0, mate. Let's hope we can get an emergency loan for Divock Origi. That would be nice. As Tony said, the 5 games in 15 days is normal situation for teams in the title and Champions League conditions. The squad needs to be managed as best as possible, hence Sunday. 100% there, Tony. Obviously, if you just rewind there, mate, we read out a couple of Arne's quotes speaking about that, was a great question from the press this morning. And yeah, he just more or less concurred with what you said there, but just about getting ready and just getting match sharp and being ready for the game. But Reds, have a lovely rest of your day, everyone, and I will see you. Yeah, see you tomorrow for a watch along as well, Reds. But massive thank you to everyone that has tuned in this morning. And yeah, everyone, whatever you're doing today in work or whatnot, going absolutely smashing it. But for now, Reds, see you later. Ta-ra.